Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a really tasty and really cool beetroot and feta pasta. Now I know I'm a bit late to this game, so I want to make it today and show you guys how I like to make it. And yeah, it's a really cool, pretty fun and fairly healthy vegetarian pasta. So to begin, I've just washed 3 beetroots, and you need to be really careful because these beetroots, you can see, they just like bleed red everywhere. So I'll put them on a paper towel and I'm just going to cut them into a few pieces and put them into my roasting tray so they roast a bit faster. So there's a few ways you can actually go about this. I personally like to roast the vegetables in this scenario, and probably most. I think that roasting has a lot more, or imparts a lot more flavor onto the vegetables and everything, and it kind of combines together and makes it all really tasty. So I've just cut the ends off the beetroot, and I'm just going to cut them. It really doesn't matter because we're going to blend this all. But just into a few smaller size shapes. And again, you want to be careful to keep this on your cutting board because it could very easily stain your bench or your clothes, anything. Now moving on, I've got a small onion. If you've got a normal size onion, just use half. We don't want to overpower this, but I'm going to add this to my roasting tray as well. So we don't want to cut this too small, otherwise this will cook and brown and it'll just end up tasting bitter. We want to keep these in bigger chunks so that it slowly kind of cooks down and caramelizes a bit and becomes a bit sweeter. So I'm just cutting this into 4. As you can see, I'm getting red kind of everywhere. Now garlic as well, I like to add just to bring it all more flavor again. What I'll do here, you can add the whole garlic head if you want to. I don't really want to take over the flavor, but for me, I'm just going to add a few cloves. What I'm going to do is just add 4 medium-sized cloves, but I'm gonna just crush them down a bit with the back of my knife. Again, I don't want to cut these too small similarly to the onion, otherwise these will just kind of overcook and they'll burn, and again, they won't be very nice in the sauce. It's funny, it looks like I've cut myself and this is blood, but I promise I haven't. All right, so now we're onto the feta. So I have a whole block of Danish feta here. Now, if you want to, you can add the whole block, but I think that's so much feta, and having too much feta is obviously unhealthy. I think sometimes people forget when they do this recipe. I'm gonna only add about, considering the amount of vegetables I have here in the size of the tray, I'm only gonna use about 1/3 of this block. And this block, if you're interested, is 200 grams. As you can see on our health star ratings, 0.5 health star ratings. Not healthy, but a little bit's okay. That looks like a good amount, probably about 70 grams worth. And I'm just gonna pop that into the middle of my tray. All right, so that's it with our veggies and the feta. And now I'm gonna move on, and I like to add a little bit of thyme. You can use fresh thyme if you want to, but fresh thyme can kind of again get overcooked and burnt. I'm just gonna sprinkle on some dried thyme, just a little bit over the top, which will kind of impart its flavor into the vegetables and the feta. And I'm also gonna add some salt and pepper. Now, one last thing, I have some olive oil here, and I have some garlic olive oil and some chili olive oil. And I love to use these. So these are Cobram Estate, just from the supermarket here in Australia. You can get whatever brand you want, but it's a really nice garlic flavor. And this has a really nice heat to it. So it's not super spicy, but it definitely packs some heat. And it's really nice, kind of an aftery kind of burn. So I love to add this sometimes to especially vegetables, just to impart some nice heat and some flavor. Often I would also use some dried red chili flakes, whatever you'd like to. In this situation, I'm gonna use this chili olive oil. Everything's flying away from me today. So I'm just gonna give a nice generous drizzle of the chili olive oil. And now the garlic. Now, if you don't have flavored olive oil, you can obviously just use normal olive oil, and there's already garlic in this. There's no need for too much extra garlic olive oil. And just add, some chili flakes, crushed red pepper, whatever you'd like to. So here we go. It's basically as simple as that. I've got my onions, garlic, beetroots, feta, and the olive oil over the top. Now, I'll just give it a little bit of a shake around, but don't get too bothered about everything being coated, because remember, we're gonna put this in the blender after this is cooked, and it'll turn into a nice, creamy red sauce. So I'm going to bake this in the oven now for probably about 30-40 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius. I'm going to check it and see how it goes. I don't want anything to burn, The feta will kind of start to get a bit darker and nice, and more flavor will come into it from the flavors in the tray. That's fine, that's perfect. We just don't want to have like black bits of garlic or onion or any of the veggies in there. So my veggies have been roasting for about 20-ish minutes now. They still need obviously a bit longer, but it is now time to start cooking and preparing your pasta. Now I've chosen some rigatoni, as I think it looks really cool in that bright reddy pink sauce. So I'm just going to cook this until it's al dente in a pot of boiling water, and then I'll drain it and obviously save some of that pasta water to combine with the sauce. All right, so I've got my pasta ready and my roast vegetables. So I actually ended up taking the onion and garlic out a little bit earlier, just as they were cooking a bit faster than the beetroot. So the beetroot's still in here. I've let everything cool down for a few minutes because I'm going to use my NutriBullet to blend these up. And you should never blend hot anything. Thankfully, it's never happened to me, but it's a very good way to, you know, have something or your blender explode. So just be careful. Everything's looking nice and roasted. As you can see, the feta is nice and squishy and got some nice color for some extra flavor. As well, I'm gonna keep the skins on these beetroots, but feel free to take them off if you'd like to. They're completely edible, completely up to you. That's why I washed the skins before cooking these. So now that things have started to cool down, I'm just gonna place everything into my NutriBullet and I'm gonna blend. And it might need a little bit of water, or you can use a little bit of that pasta water too, because that pasta water is starchy and will just help bring that sauce together and mix it in with the pasta. Now I've also got 1 clove of raw garlic here. I like to add it for some extra garlicky punch, because roasting these, the garlic and the onions really creates a sweet, mellow flavor, but I want that bit of punch of garlic. And I've also got some lemon here too, and I'd add probably about 1 or 2 teaspoons just for some nice freshness and acidity in the sauce as well, just to keep it nice and balanced. You can see that. You can see this really cool color, but it needs a little bit more liquid to blend properly. Oh, look at this beautiful rich sauce. It is so deep red, and this is the time that you need to try it. Now you give it a little bit of a taste. So you're looking for kind of a balanced flavor, so it has to obviously taste good. Well, you want it to taste good, but the beetroot has a delicious earthy tone. And I think that's really nice, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt and a little bit more lemon. Yeah, so basically this is really pretty simple. I'm just gonna pour this into my pasta and give it a nice mix around. I just put a little bit of water in the blender and mix it just to get that extra bit out. Now I'm just gonna mix this through gently into the pasta. And as you see, it turns that really cool, bright red color. All right, take a look at that. How cool does that look? I'm just going to serve this directly into my bowl. Now there's a few different ways that you can kind of top or dress this. It'd be very nice to sprinkle some fresh thyme on top, or you can even add some more like different vegetables, some parmesan, or even some more feta. Personally, I think it's quite nice to top this with a few walnuts. Walnuts go really well as they're quite rich and they go with this really nice earthy flavor from the beetroots. All right, here we go. Here is my delicious feta and beetroot pasta. Now, I've topped it with a little bit of crumbled feta and some walnuts, and I cannot wait to dive in. This is just a delicious, earthy vegetarian meal. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.